Today I, 29M, was talking at lunch with my husband, 33M, and we went over the same subject we have unsuccessfully talked about for years. Please note that we have known each other for almost 10 years, lived together 5 years, and have been married almost 3 years. So, we were talking about dogs and cats and he said that cats are pretty good. Now, pay attention to that wording because that's the bit where we fucked up. Over the years I had been disheartened when he said things were pretty good. From my perspective, he seemed to be emotionally distant and unenthusiastic about things. Everything was pretty good, and said in a very mild tone of voice. So over the years we tried to talk about it with limited success. Today when I asked him why he never seemed to show much enthusiasm for things, he was confused as always. He said that he did show enthusiasm because he likes cats. But, you just said they were only pretty good. This confused him even more. Somehow I managed upon the magic combination of words to get him to elaborate further. Usually, he would just repeat that things are pretty good, but today he managed to lay out his scale. Okay, less than good, less than pretty good, less than great. I have never seen pretty good used in that place in the scale. I always place it below good. Almost good. Mostly good. For years we had been talking about things and I had assumed he was sorta meh on them because of this. I had to run damage control at a Thanksgiving dinner one time because he said my mom's cooking was pretty good. We have stopped watching TV shows because I thought he was only mildly enjoying them and I didn't want to be too much of a bother. I eventually just came to the conclusion that he wasn't very expressive and tried to place his responses in my own scale because he had such difficulty explaining it. Years. I got disheartened when he said my dog was pretty good. He calls me pretty cool. When I told him about my scale he was shocked. He says it must be a southern thing, though I don't remember it from when I lived in Texas. We compromised and said it must be an Arkansas thing, his home state. We both began re-examining our interactions over the years. The Thanksgiving dinner. Me explaining to my brother that, no, my husband did really like that movie, he just expresses it this way. How he talks about my dog. All of it. When lunch was over and I assured him everything was okay, he said I was pretty cool and got this horrified look on his face. He realized that from my perspective he had been calling me only mostly cool / good / etc. for years. I similarly realized I had been assuming he wasn't enthusiastic about things because of the wording. It was so embarrassing. I've encouraged him to be more open about his feelings and his happiness and just confusing him for years. I'm just so baffled by everything. It's good we're learning to communicate better, but geez. He feels really apologetic now, and I've tried to assure him that I just assumed it was like a jokey understatement meant to be kinda funny and maybe razz me a little. But no, he was entirely sincere the whole time. We are trying to find better ways to communicate, but it's a process. He has encouraged me to ask him what do you think that means as a way of getting him to rephrase some of the things he says. Hopefully we can cut down on miscommunications like this in the future. TL, drive. Realized today that my husband uses pretty good to mean better than good. I think it means only mostly good. Spent years feeling slightly disheartened and sad, which he feels bad for now that he knows. Edit for clarification, we're both dudes. Edit 2, I talk to my immediate family. Parents agree with me but my brother agrees with my husband. I have no idea anymore lol. Obligatory. This happened a while ago. When my daughter was 6 she was obsessed with the TV show Little House on the Prairie, which delighted my wife and me who loved the show when we were kids. In the pilot episode, the family was so poor that each of the girls got a new cup, a shiny new penny, and a potato as a gift for Christmas. My daughter couldn't stop talking about it. Now my family is really big into taking practical jokes too far. There was the feral daughter kept in a cage prank of 2010 and the bloody leprechaun joke of 2013, but this one really backfired on us. After she went to bed on Christmas Eve, we hid all of her real presents behind the couch and left one package in the middle of the floor. When she came down she seemed surprised that there was only one gift but carefully unwrapped it to reveal, you guessed it, a shiny tin cup, a brand new penny, and a potato. Attached was a note from Santa. Molly. I heard how much you love the Little House show, here's hoping you have a very prairie Christmas. Love. Santa. She grabbed the potato and started to cry. Uh-oh. I really screwed up this time. However, it wasn't because she was upset, but because she was so happy. Even when we revealed her other gifts, she only wanted to be with her potato. She drew a face on it and carried it around with her everywhere. But it started to go bad. First, it turned green and started to sprout eyelets. Eventually, we had a very traumatic experience where the potato disappeared in the night. She's 17 now and still talks wistfully about the potato every Christmas. TL, Dr. I once gave a potato to my daughter as a practical joke and ended up backfiring when she ended up loving it and we had to get rid of it before it went gangrene. Edit, y'all wanted the leprechaun story? I just posted it too. So I'm literally sitting in a public parking lot right now with an angry seething wife. We decided to use Airbnb for the first time while on a one-day trip to Kona to check out the volcano. We informed the host that we would be arriving late and he responded that it wouldn't be a problem and gave us the instructions for self-check-in. When we arrived, we followed the instructions and entered in the code to open the door. To our shock, there was someone already sleeping in the room. He was as shocked as us since he was sound asleep when we opened the door. We apologized and quickly closed the door and went to look for the host, who we finally found sound asleep as well. We woke him up and he started mumbling excuses about how the other person showed up first so they got the room. He then admitted to us that he had accidentally double-booked the room on bookings.com and offered us to crash in his living room. When asked why he didn't tell us earlier that he had double-booked, he said half the people don't show up. My wife lost it and starts yelling at the guy. I can tell things are going south and grab her to leave all the while she's yelling. We call Airbnb and get transferred to some help desk in India and the guy asks if we want to cancel the booking. At this point, I'm pissed and asked if he was serious. He says he has to ask and offers to refund the cost of the room and give us a $60 credit for stay somewhere else. We try calling around to the other hotels and they're all booked. This host had 700 reviews and everything looked on the up and up. We're now sleeping in the rental car for the night. TL, Dr. Airbnb host double booked us and we're sleeping in our rental car in the Walmart parking lot. I, 20M, have been dating my girlfriend, best friend Cindy for a few months and her birthday was the 3rd. She happens to share a birthday with my coworker Mariana, 18F. My workplace has only 8 people so we often buy birthday presents for each other, so obviously I bought Mariana a present. I got Mariana a dolphin necklace and I got my girlfriend a matching bracelet and ring with tanzanite in them, her birthstone, and a letter telling her how much I appreciate her with reservation tickets. So one is much more intimate than the other. On her birthday I decided to buy donuts and coffees for breakfast in bed for her. We ate and I wished her a happy birthday and checked my phone. I thought my shift started at 9, it started at 8:30. In my rush out the door I grabbed the gift bag for Mariana from my desk as they looked similar at a glance. When I gave Mariana the bag I walked away as I don't like watching people open presents and I heard an audible gasp and thought she must have loved the dolphin. She ran over to me and kissed me on the cheek and said she's love to go on a date. I looked at her confused and saw the reservation tickets. Cue a 30-minute hell of explaining that I wasn't asking her out and that it was for my girlfriend. She lost all color and I'm not even exaggerating. You could literally see the embarrassment and disappointment wash over her face. When lunch break came around I sped home. When I explained to Cindy what happened she made fun of me for it. I went back to work and tried to give Mariana her gift but she didn't look at me and kept her head down. I still had a great date with Cindy but she said, "Are you sure the reservation is for me?" I've never been so red. Hopefully Mariana will start talking to me again soon. TL, Dr. I gave my coworker my girlfriend's birthday gift and she accepted the date offer in it. This actually happened in the summer of 2020 while we were in lockdown, in UK, but it never occurred to me that it could be a post on here until today. So during the lockdown, I, 23M, was stuck in a tiny flat with my girlfriend. I don't remember exactly why, but I asked her if I could use her Veet hair removal cream to get rid of my ass crack hair. She said yes, so I laid down on my front while she applied the cream, wiped it off a few minutes later and then washed everything down. All went well at the time. It felt great. Wiping my ass while being balled down there was just an amazing experience. Anyway. Fast forward to a week later, I started feeling some pain in what I thought at the time was my lower back. My GF and I had just done a big deep clean of our flat, so I thought I might have twinged something while hoovering etc. A few days pass and the pain gets worse and worse. I then ask my GF to have a look to see if she can see any bruising on my lower back. She checked and saw what I can only describe as a golf ball growing on the top inside of my ass crack. I ended up calling 111, in the UK, that's a number for non-emergency medical help, and they tell me I need to go to the hospital. So I go over to A&E, ER, and have a few different people inspect and feel my crack, before being sent to another wing to a specialist. They tell me that the veet caused an ingrown hair, which then got infected and caused an abscess to grow. The positioning of it was the worst, as it was on the inside of my crack, and it was constantly rubbing and touching the other side of my crack. It didn't matter if I was standing or sitting, I was in constant extreme pain. They did some blood tests to see if the infection had spread, it hadn't, and decided I needed to go into surgery, while they put me to sleep, to open and drain the abscess. The story is not over here. The surgery went well. As soon as I woke up the pain was completely gone. It was slightly annoying as they cannot stitch up the incision, they had to leave it to heal from the inside out. This meant I had to go back every day for about 2 months for them to redress the wound. Although that's slightly annoying, the pain was gone, so I was happy. Anyway. Remember I said they did some blood tests. A few days later, my arm, where they took the blood from, started hurting and bruising quite badly. After speaking to a few nurses, they said bruising can happen if the needle hit a nerve, but it should go down in a few days. A few days later, the bruising did not go down and my arm started swelling. I'll save your eyes from the pictures, which I do have, of my ass, but I'll show you my arm after a week. https://imgur.com/a/kipt https://imgur.com/a/kipt. I ended up having to back to A&E and have an ultrasound as they thought it might have caused a blood clot. Luckily it hadn't, and although for a week my arm was locked in a 90-degree position, it did finally go down. All this, because I wanted a clean wipe. TL, doctor, I used hair removal cream on my ass crack, it caused an ingrown hair which then got infected and I had a golf ball-sized abscess growing in my crack. Needed to go into surgery to get it removed. Then my arm got bruised to shit from the blood test they did on me before surgery.